Okay, hi, and welcome to tutorial 5, the actual number 5, not like the previous one, which was a fake 5. Anyway, so in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to make a better case sampler. We're going to learn how to make some controls for it and make it behave in a more unified way that fits with how SDXL functions. Uh, it's going to kind of emulate what some of the custom nodes like Surge's SDXL sampler, which is like the cheap and dirty method of this way, but this way will have more control than this method. All right, and over the previous few tutorials of this, we have learned how to build a switching system, which allows us to choose what the source of our image is going to be, whether it's an image, this prediffusion thing we constructed. Composite prediffusion is a thing which I recently have been testing out, which is a combination of of image diffusion, image to image, and prediffusion. Uh, Still dialing that in at the moment, but it'll be in the JSON if you want to mess around with that. And we also learned how to construct this whole system, which is designed to get the most out of your prompt for SDXL and allow you to just customize things right back here at the start without traveling all over the place to change values in things for things like resolution and to change your image source. All right. Oh, we also built these buses as well. So, you'll have used case samples before at this point in theory. You may have used the advanced ones because I think I've described those in one of the previous tutorials. However, this time we're going to do some more fiddliness with this. You may use the settings that I have in here if you wish. It's just the ones I'm working with at the moment. There's some bugginess with ComfyUI and the scheduler on some of these samplers. I'm not sure which ones exactly, but if you're getting multicolored confetti out the other end, is a very good chance your sampler needs to be changed rather than anything else. All right, so I'll walk you through setting up the samplers and the controls for this. So first off, you need to make all of these, the noise seed, steps, start at step, and end at step. They all need to be inputs instead of widgets. And then we need to break 3 of them out into integers. You can use the primitive node found in the utilities section, but I would suggest not getting into a habit of using that because there are some cases where that simply will refuse to plug into stuff. But if you're more comfortable with that, it should work for this process. But I prefer these kind of nodes. All right, the next input should be a seed input. It could be an integer, but it's not going to work kind of the way that you would expect. So it's better to get a seed one if you can find one. And there should be a seed one inside the quality of life suite somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. Here we are, under utilities, seed. So the good thing about a seed node specifically is it has access to that big number box, just solid numbers, no points on the end, like with these integer boxes. And it has the control after option as well. So we're going to set this to 8 and fixed because I'm going to show you some stuff that requires it to be that. You could choose this to be any of the numbers you want, any settings you want on this. I like to have this one fixed with both of these. If I'm using both of them on the one seed, I prefer to be fixed, but you don't have to. All right. Now, the reason we break these things out is because we're going to use them in more than one place, or because we want the controls all to be next to each other, essentially. So I'm going to arrange them in the order that we're going to use them at because that makes more sense. and then I'm going to name them. So the first one is the start node. And it's a start / node because I have fat fingers. And this one is going to be refiner start. And the last one is going to be total steps. And I'm going to set total steps to 35. Refiner start is going to be 28. And the start is going to be on 0 for now. Now to explain these, the start one is of course the start at step for your first sampler. And it's set to 0 because we want it to render every one of these steps. We want it to run through every single step. The refiner start is set to 28. And the refiner start is actually the end of the first sampler and the start of the second sampler. So we're going to drag the start at step from the second sampler into the refiner start. So they're essentially getting this one number is going to two places and doing two different things. And because of that, we've now linked these two nodes into the same system. Essentially, they share the total number of steps. And because of that, we're going to plug the second sampler into the total step. So it knows exactly how many steps it needs to be. So we're going to plug in steps and end at step. And that's because this is going to end at the same value as the total steps. So we may as well share that value. I've seen some people claiming you should keep the end at step at like 10,000 or whatever, but the only reason I can see for that being the case, for the reason that it's at 10,000 is because they want it to render every frame that you have set. And so the default value is 10,000. Some people say it changes the way the image is rendered and that it does messy stuff if you mess with it, but I haven't found that to be the case. And I'm saying this because I've seen a tutorial where someone said that and there's no basis behind it. And it affronted me. Anyway, we're all not professionals at this. We're just messing with it. Right. So the seed needs to be also linked because I like to link my seed on these. You don't have to. So now we have a set of controls between these two nodes, which is essentially turn this whole section into one node, basically. And now it should output two images. It's going to send out two of these. If you had this in an actual workflow normally, this particular vey and this image are unnecessary. You can get rid of them and it will speed up it will speed everything up because this step is making an image you don't want anyway. This is just for demonstrative purposes. So I'm going to generate using the prompt. And I'll just explain the prompt now. So the prompt is, it's a portrait photo of a squid repairing a computer using a large wrench. It's in a dark, long-abandoned retro industrial space station with pipes and hexagonal hallways. Now, normally you would think that would work, that would give you what you want. And sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. In this case, it's given us a control room, an industrial warehouse of some kind, with an old computer. So it's using the retro part, it's using the industrial part. And, it looks okay, it seems to fit for purpose, but there's no squid in here anywhere. At least none that I can see anywhere. There's maybe a hint of something squid-like over here, but there's no actual squid in this image. So we're going to use something we built earlier, prediffusion, to put some more squid into our image, essentially. So in order to do that, all we had to do was enter in a squid fixing computer, which emulates this part of our main prompt, but because it's ignoring it, we can force it to actually do that by entering this into prediffusion. So in order to set that up for prediffusion, we go up here and we tell the source switch, go to 2. So it's going to generate using that. Then we go down to here and we make sure that the start node is something like, say, 6. You could go lower, you could go higher, it's really up to you where you go. This is just telling it how much of the squid to use. If you've used control net or inpainting, it's very similar to what you do with that. Specifically, it's very similar to the denoising step when you're running, say, A111 and doing inpainting or whatever. And I'm pretty sure I've described what this kind of thing does before, but just to reiterate it. So now we're going to use the squid to generate this image. We haven't changed the seed at all here, and we haven't done anything other than change that one bit of it. Now, interestingly, you'll see that it's got a person in there now, which is similar to this part of the image before. And you'll see that there's kind of a shape of stuff here. But it hasn't really used like this section of the image. And that's because this start value is not quite high enough to force it to make a squid. Which shows you how inoptimal our prompt is. Our main prompt is clearly not something that wants to generate squids, because it's requiring even more information that there's a squid there in order to actually even try to make one. Which is kind of a good idea, that a good way of showing that your main prompt could use some adjustment. So now we've raised it up to 8, and as you can see, it's now finally put a squid into our image. But as you can see, it's not a direct copy. It's not like tracing this other image at all. It's putting kind of a squid monster in there and a dude at some kind of a computer, I guess. But this is the kind of power of prediffusion. It allows you to influence the final outcome of the image in a way that it might not want to do. Now I could push this even higher and it will start to become more and more like that first image. So we'll push it to, what? We'll go to 12. We'll go to 12. We'll see how far it goes. Okay, so now we've finally got a squid at a computer. So as you can see, it's quite a powerful tool to actually use this kind of thing. Like you can see, it's similar. It's not the same as the original image. The background's different. The keyboard and all that stuff set up that way. It is a really, really powerful tool. Once you get used to it and you understand the kind of ways that it can be used, I find it really, really good to make the images that I specifically want. It's in some ways you can use image to image in the same way, but usually it's a bit harder to kind of tune the denoising so that it doesn't use too much of the original image. But this seems to work pretty well. In fact, let's do squid. How about it with bat wings sitting on a desk? No idea what this will do. I'm completely off script, and I don't use, in fact, I don't even use a script for these things, as you might be able to figure out. It's turned it into a comic for some reason. Hopefully that doesn't come across. All right, cool. So it's changed it now, and it's still looking kind of like an alien. It's given it arms and everything. It's pretty cool. So that's a demonstration of getting everything kind of working properly. As you can see, the refiner's refining all this to make it sharper. It's adding more detail. Like if you look right in on here, you can see there's patterns and artifacting and stuff. when this one comes through, we'll have a look at what it's done in here. See, it's a little bit when you zoom right in, but otherwise it's added a fair bit of detail to it. There is a little bit of washout going on here, which is probably, yeah, it'd be a result of this image being so grey. In which case that's tunable as well, because you can add things like, if you have WASSuit, you can add these really cool things. Where are we? Image. Image has these post-processing nodes over here where you can do stuff like thresholding, you can tune the color with these things, you can, if you ever use Photoshop and you use the levels thingo, it can even do levels, which is really good for bringing out the brightness of a thing. Yeah, it's fucking amazing. I probably shouldn't swear, but it is. It's just really good. Okay, so now we are set up to do the next step, which we'll do in the next tutorial, which is I'm going to show you how to get LoRa's working. I'm going to show you how to get SDXL LoRa's, and I'm going to show you how to use 1.5 LoRa's on an SDXL image as well, using this whole setup. And I may show you upscaling in that next tutorial, or I may just put upscaling in its own tutorial. We'll see. Anyway, make some cool stuff with this, and hopefully it's a bit more convenient for you now that we have all of this built up. Yeah, which gives us a good basis to make some cool images. And this will be as a JSON on the Reddit post where I post this. If you are on YouTube and you just kind of stumble across this, I'm going to work out a way of linking this somewhere, but I haven't worked out a way of linking the JSON files. But if you hunt around on Reddit under the ComfyUI subreddit, you should be able to find these. And my username there is Fernicles, I think. Fernicle Sticks? Yeah, Fernicle Sticks. And as you can see, I'm very informal. I don't script this stuff. So anyway, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Stop recording.